and we get a lot of marketing to us that says we need this, buy this, you'll feel better, and the immediate gratification of buying something isn't always worth the amount of debt you then put yourself into. Growing up, you never really get an understanding of money, how much it costs to live, how much you earn, and how much your parents are actually paying out on you and bringing you up. So Christmas and birthdays, when you get all the toys, you see all your friends asking for toys and you want the same items. Your parents, sometimes they buy them for you and you don't realise how much it's actually costing them. And in some instances, they're probably going into debt to buy those items. So now, 20 years on, I'm 31 now, as I earn money myself and spend on items, I'm realising the true cost of living. I remember when I was young and our computer broke. We shared a computer as a family, we all had our own users on it, and we shared a computer. I remember all my friends, when MSN Messenger came out, they'd go on every night after school, they'd all be talking, and having no computer I couldn't join in. And I remember being a bratty little teenager and I couldn't understand why my parents couldn't replace the computer straight away. And then a few months later they got a top of the range computer. It looked amazing, loads of great specs, and it must have cost them £1,500, and I didn't realise how much it cost and the fact that they had put that onto credit. And then when I was older myself, like last year, my Mac broke and I used my Mac to earn a living, and just before a big project came up, my Mac just completely stopped working. So I had to buy a new one. It set me back £2,000, and now I'm in the process of paying that off each month. And you don't realise that as a kid. Your parents spend that money to make you happy and you have no idea until you're older. My long-term job before I was filmmaking more full-time, it was a contract where you weren't set hours, so everyone would be competing for the hours every week, and if shifts went, you'd be able to pick them up, and if you got there quick enough before someone else. So having fluctuating income for, I think it was 8 years, there'd be times where you get ahead and then you fall behind, or if things broke, you'd have to replace them and put them on credit. And after 8 years of doing that, I'd racked up £10,700 of debt, and it was costing me £300 a month, and I couldn't live like that any longer. I realised I was stuck, and I'm also quite stubborn, so I knew I wanted to sort it out myself. So I took some steps into working out how much debt I have, a plan to pay it off, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today to try and help you if you're in a similar situation. It can be very easy to fall into debt, it's not always your fault. So in the instance of a fluctuating income, if you don't get enough hours one month and you have to spend £200 on a credit card for your food, fuel so you can actually get to work, it can start adding up. So 12 months down the line, you've put £2,600 onto a credit card, and that could be costing you anywhere from £30 to £80 a month, just paying that off, just for the cost of living. As I mentioned earlier, where my computer broke, I rely on my car a lot for my job as well. I'll be travelling to different places to work with clients, and when my car broke, I was stuck. So for a couple of days, I had to look around and quickly find a car, find a way to pay for it, and then that added to that mountain of debt again. But that was an expense that I know I needed to pay to carry on earning money, so that was an important one. But that's an unavoidable instance. Some debts you can easily avoid. So let's say you go to a store that sells a store card and you pick an item out you like, a new coat, it's only £100, it's going to cost you £10 a month, and you buy it, because anyone can afford £10 a month, it's easy enough to do, isn't it? So then if you do that on 10 items, you do it in a couple of different stores, you then owe £1,000 and it's costing you £100 a month. Even though each time you're thinking to yourself, well, it's only costing me £10 a month, I'll manage. And as this happens over time, and then things go wrong, like your car breaking or anything like that, then it all adds up to one big figure, and you realise how much you're spending per month just on paying your debts back. And there's a minimum payment as well. This isn't necessarily clearing them quickly. If you go into Google and type in a debt calculator, you can type in your figures that you owe, and it will tell you when you're paying the minimum payment how long it's going to take to clear, and some figures are outrageous. You look at 20 plus years to clear a debt just by paying the minimum payment. So even if you can afford to just pay a little bit more than the minimum, you can drastically cut down that figure by 10 years or so and get onto a path to more financial freedom. As well as a couple of instances where things went wrong, I was absolutely guilty of, this is only going to cost me £10 a month, £20 a month, and I can afford that. If you add that to anything else you do, like my Netflix subscription, there's an extra £8, your car tax, I'm paying £12 there. Add all this up to your monthly bills and it can be an extreme number. It scares you, especially if you don't know how much money you're earning each month. It can change so often. There are a number of steps I found really useful for myself, and I've made great progress. I'm really happy with where I'm at and where I'm going, and I know that soon I will actually be debt free. My starting figure was 10,700. I saw this figure and it scares you, especially when you think to yourself, well, do I have to buy this month, or do I have to do that? You shouldn't have to make those decisions. If you want to go out with your partner for a nice meal, you should be able to do that. That should be easy enough to do. Sometimes you can't because you do get too much built up, but there are ways to get out of this, and my first step was realising the situation I was in. So here's a couple of steps that I used to hopefully help other people to look at their own finances and see if they can make progress with them. Now, I'm no expert on the matter. This is just what I've done myself. There are ways, if you're really struggling, we've got citizens advice bureaus. You can search for them. They're always in your local town. Seek advice from them. They're professionals who can really help look at your finances yourself. If you think you're in a position where you can just make some changes and tackle it yourself, then please listen to some of these tips and hopefully they'll help you as they've helped me. So if I look at my computer, first of all, I created a spreadsheet of all my debts. So here in the left we've got the creditor, the people that I owed the money to, the amount I owed, which adding them all up came to the 10,000 figure, which was scary. Minimum is how much I had to pay every single month, the minimum I had to pay. And then the actual payment is where it comes into your choice. So if you look here, I decided on my big credit card, because it was costing me so much interest per year, like that figure 6,500, you're looking at £2,000 a year just in interest, even though I'm paying that per month. So out of that £160, I was probably paying off £40, £50 a month. So I decided for that one, that's the one I'm going to tackle first. I'm going to try and pay £200 a month, and that's going to bring that figure down over time. There's two ways of looking at this. You can work it out as which can I clear the quickest to save you the monthly payments, or which can I save the most interest on. So going back to my figures, here we've got PayPal and an overdraft. They're costing £37 a month. Let's say I could clear this £2,670 altogether. That would save me £74 a month. Whereas if I spent £2,600 bringing this figure down here, 6,500, then I'm probably still going to be paying out £110 per month. I'd be saving £50 as opposed to 74. So prioritise them however you see best. For me, because I had a fluctuating income each month, I decided I want to lower my monthly payments, so I went for the things I could pay off the quickest, and that way I was saving money per month, so that if I did get a really good wage, I could then put a chunk of money onto a bigger debt. The other way, as I said, let's say you do have a set income, work on paying off the higher interest first, and then over the long term you're going to be paying less back. Find out which way works best for you depending on your own earnings. The way I allocated my money each month to these bills was, because I've been growing a video business over time, I earn more than just my full-time job. So I'd work as much as I can, gaining hours in my job to pay all my bills, my food, etc. Then any film work I would get, I would be using those payments to pay off my debts. Obviously there's times where I may need to buy new equipment and improve so I can offer more to my clients, but I would budget that into each job I earned and work out that. So I had two separate earnings basically, I had my full-time and my business, and I'd work these separately to see how I can help my personal finances while also growing my business at the same time. If you do have one income, as many people do, there are ways to cut back on your spends each month. So for example, I used to spend £200 a month on food, whereas now I can pay £3 for 3 kilograms of rice. I do like rice, obviously I can't have it every meal, but I do like it. That 3 kilograms can last me a full month if I have one plate a day. That's 30 servings for £3. Spend something to put with those. Obviously I'm not just going to eat plates of rice, but you can drastically bring that down. Spend £10-15 on ingredients for sandwiches. Take those for lunch to work instead of spending £6 a day on your fast food, and then your £30-40 a week comes down to £10-15. and you've saved money there. Now, some of this money, you have to just remember that it's not all about clearing your debt. You have to live your life and enjoy it as well. So you could make that saving and go and enjoy a meal, enjoy a day out with your family, do something different you've never done before. You need to enjoy your money as well. It can't all be about paying off debt, because that could take 2 years, 10 years, it could take a long time to pay off your debt. You have to enjoy your money and enjoy your life as well. You shouldn't be struggling to the point where you can't do anything in life. So make those savings, pay a little bit more onto your debt, and then use some to enjoy your life as well, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be working just to pay your bills. You need to be working to be able to enjoy your life. That's the whole point of this, to clear your debt so that you feel more financial freedom. And then as you earn, you could earn the exact same amount of money, but because you've got less bills, you've got much more money to spend on yourself and your family and enjoy your life as you should do. If this video has been useful to you, please give it a like, share it with anyone who you think it may be useful to. And like I said, there are professionals who can help you with advice on your personal situations. The Citizens Advice Bureau is great for this. If you research into credit unions, I used to work in one years ago. They're a means of promoting savings to help you get out of debt as well, and offer low cost loans if you need to. They'll look at your personal finances and really help you that way. So there's lots of advice you can get online. I'll leave some links in the description below to the ones I've used before for advice, and speak to the professionals if you feel like you need to. Don't feel you have to do this on your own. If you're confident enough to do so and you've got a good plan to do it, then take a shot at it and see how you can do. Hopefully you can have more financial freedom and start enjoying your life, because we shouldn't all be in debt. It's the way the world is at the moment, and we get a lot of marketing to us that says we need this, buy this, you'll feel better, and the immediate gratification of buying something isn't always worth the amount of debt you then put yourself into. So look at the things that make you happy and spend your money that way instead.